You know, upcycling, repurposing, a great practice, great creative outlet. And, you know, it's good for the planet, of course. There's no creative group that understands it better than the San Diego Steampunks. Gaslight Steampunk Expo's Anastasia Hunter joining us this morning. So you guys have a fun swap meet social event happening. What's going on, Anastasia?
So tomorrow at the Nancoots Cottage in La Mesa, we're going to have a community swap meet and social. So the swap meet will be in the morning from about 9 till noon, and it's $5 for anybody who wants to come down and peruse what our makers and local steampunks might have to repurpose into somebody else's future awesome project. Wow. And then in the afternoon, we're going to switch over to a social where we're going to have some of the items and projects that we had left over from our Paris theme event that we just had this last October. So people can do some free craft projects and get ideas for our haunted holiday theme that's coming up this October.
Whoa. Okay, Anastasia, I can only imagine the type of things that will be at this swap meet. I mean, you guys get so creative with all the, I mean, look at your hat, for example. What are you expecting to see tomorrow?
Well, the nice thing is that a lot of steampunks end up like buying a lot more things than they actually use while they're in the creative process of, I'm not sure what that's going to be, but it's going to be something awesome in the future. And then it's always nice, you know, once a year where you're supposed to, you know, clean out your closets and you decide, maybe that one's not really the thing I need. And so we, instead of just like junking it or sending it to Goodwill, we'll have a community swap meet where hopefully somebody else in the community can make use of it.
Okay.
That's our plan.
$5 to go through all the fun stuff that people have gathered over their years. But I do want to talk about the hat that you have on.
Yes.
What's going on with it?
So this is a hat that I purchased at, you know, one of the other events. It actually had a different decor on it originally. And then one of the vendors that's real active in the steampunk community, Steamy Tech, they sell kits where you can actually put your hat, you know, onto your own mobile,
whoa,
moving.
It moves.
You know, steampunk thing. And it's always, you know, people are always surprised because they're like, well, that looks cool. And then you're like, it does a trick?
It has a trick. It's like functional. It can count seconds if you wanted to.
Yeah. And so that's the idea tomorrow, is that you may find that thing, that perfect thing, and then there'll be makers around so you can talk to people if you have ideas of something you want to build and how would you go about making it. That's also part of the creative process, which is so wonderful about our steampunk community here in San Diego, is that people are so willing to help you make your dream become a reality.
You know,
so you can wear it the next event.
When we had you on our air last time, it was a few months ago before your October event, I believe, and I was just so fascinated about the engineering minds that go into what you create. You know, there's a lot of thought that's put into it. It's artistic, but really smart, right?
Well, and that's the nice thing. It's, you know, sort of a lot of people think of steampunk and they're like, have no idea what that is. But a lot of times when you say it's science fiction and fantasy, like blended together. So it's science, but not necessarily science, like logical science all the time. You can have fun things where, you know, you'll make up a story as to why this hat has gears that function in the way it does. And, you know, maybe it's my special processing engine as a time traveler coming, you know, to the future.
Right.
To help me navigate, you know, this wonderful program and everything else that we do in the modern century.
Yeah, because I mean, I do want to know why people are so into steampunk. I mean, some people are what, 9 to 5 engineer types who like kind of escaping reality, right?
Yes, to a degree. And the nice thing is you get to dress up. Steampunks tend to be a little fancier, I noticed, than certain other groups that get together. And because it has that fantasy aspect as well as that science fiction aspect and a lot of history behind it, then there's no one who can tell you, oh, hey, you're doing your steampunk wrong.
Right.
And, you know, that's something you never want to hear anybody tell you, you know, with your efforts that you put together this costume. As long as you have a good story to explain why you're dressed the way you are or why your hat or, you know, your gadget does what it does. That's the things that we are always encouraged about, and we try to encourage in others.
And do you have a few items that will be at the swap meet that you can show us?
I do.
Okay.
I know for sure we're going to have somebody with a bunch of pocket watches. So if you needed that special pocket watch for your event, that will be there. There's going to be a variety of teacups because we love our tea. And in fact, that $5 admission price gets you free coffee, tea, and hot chocolate until supplies run out. There'll be purses, there'll be fabric. And then, of course, the thing everybody wants to know about is, will there be giant bags of gears that I can use and repurpose in future projects? And I can guarantee you we'll have plenty of that there.
Hold on, Anastasia. Can you open up that bag? What is in there? What do you mean people are asking for gears?
Well, you know, that's surprisingly people are always surprised about, well, where do you go to find gears? Because,
Right.
you know, if you go online and try to find them, because steampunk became so popular, they can be very expensive.
Okay.
But if you know some people in the hardware department at your local hardware store, you can get lucky and find gears that won't break the bank and will let you build amazing steampunky type of thing.
I was going to ask you, Anastasia, what would you build with some of those gears? I have not been in the market to shop for gear. I didn't know it was so expensive.
Well, I know, right? But it's because it becomes trendy. So that's the nice thing. It's like, you know, it depends on what your idea is. A lot of people sometimes want to build like a backpack project, right? Where they want to integrate gears or things that move like I have on my hat.
Right.
And so you want to find things that are not new looking, because obviously, you know, it's more of a retro Victorian type of fashion. So it's nice to be able to find, you know, gears and other cogs and, like you said, engineering type of items that can be repurposed instead of, you know, most people would look at it and say, that's junk. What are you doing with that? But we can always find a way of integrating it and making it something wonderful.
You know, I'm fascinated by the creativity that goes into this. Like, you'll see a gear and think, hey, I'm going to put that on a backpack and make it this fun, futuristic or old-timey type of story to it. It is very creative. It takes a lot of, you know, imagination, of course. And also, I do want to ask you, too, I mean, it's eco-friendly, right? I mean, this all seems like stuff that, you know, you're reusing.
Right. And I'm sure, you know, I was not the only person to put on a little bit of COVID weight over the last couple of years. So there's a lot of people who've got costume pieces that are like, I love this costume, but it's not going to fit me anymore. Okay. So it should go on to somebody else's happy hands. So you'll probably see a lot of other costume pieces there that will need to be repurposed into other people's costumes. And that's the other nice thing about it, that it's not always just the hardware side of things. You know, it's the costume side and the other creative sides of things that we get to help.
Okay. Yeah, I saw in the video there were these like beautiful fabric corsets, but yeah, they're like teeny.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some there, and I know that I've got fabric myself that I'll be taking, so hopefully it can go live in someone else's house. And we'll have a freebie table where if there's something in your house that you're like, I never want to see this again, and I want to give it to the community, and hopefully somebody can find a way to repurpose it. We'll have that there too.
For a lot of people who are into fashion, design, arts, things like that, could also be intrigued by this. If they're not into steampunk, they still can find some interesting fabric. So it's a fun event. Good luck to you guys tomorrow. Enjoy it, Anastasia. I know you'll have a great time.
Thank you.
Good to see you.